Okay, this is it's a plane I just finished. It's Mozart Kaufman's P-40E from the Aleutians campaign, Kiskanatu, and not really sure of his plane number. I only have a picture of the actual plane when they were filling up the gas tank at about, this, somewhat in that position, and a frontal picture of the airplane where Mozart and two other guys are right about here, and they're standing, in front of the Tiger. All this paintwork, the weathering and everything is all, turn on that might be better. All the weathering is done by hand. It's all acrylic based paint, and it took me about 3 weeks to finish this off. It was really hard getting the lines on without getting the warp out because of the bumps and everything, but you try enough and you get there. So the model is a Nitroplanes or FMS P-40 Warhawk out of China, and it was the shark mouth one, and I kind of got bored of that and wanted to do Mozart's plane because I had met Mozart and had the pleasure of flying for him on a simulator on a big screen back in '97 at an Air Warrior conference, and where he spoke, and a lot of guys were happy to have him there. He flew the P-40, the P-39. He checked out in the P-38 up in Alaska with one guy. Flew it about 2 times, and liked the P-40 better, which is interesting. And then he transferred back to Worcester, Mass, and he learned the P-47, where he then transferred over to England and was shot down shortly after D-Day, and spent a year in a prisoner of war camp. Very interesting guy. Has a book called Fighter Pilot. He died in 2006, but I'm sure you could still find the book somewhere. So pretty much everything on the plane, where the marks are, where everything is, besides what the number is. I'm not really sure of, his number, because I don't have a shot of it and I can't seem to find any record of it. I've been trying for weeks now, and finally just gave up and figured 10's good enough, so I just went with that. I plan to add a drop tank down the bottom here. Probably have some kind of quick attach on that. I noticed that in some of the plane shots of the P-40 up in Alaska, the struts were green in the time life photos, so I forget what it's called, nitol green or something to that effect, but probably wrong on that. On the bottom, it's all cleaned up in the proper gray color. Comes as white from Nitroplanes. As you can see, the Army markings on there. And interestingly enough, I found out that most of the Aleutian planes, not all, but most, didn't have the dots between the U and S and the dot after the S that you see on most of the planes. I don't have the wings locked down right now, so if you see some spaces or a cat, don't get scared or anything. It's not going to come apart in flight. Another thing that I noticed that was interesting is that in the pictures, the exhaust stack, the first exhaust pretty much stays the same color, maybe a little bit darker than it was. I tried to work in some wear and some rust in there, and the rest of it is basically just what the smoke residue leaves as it's going down the length of the body. The pilot's a little bit far up in the canopy. That's just how this was made. I could have moved him back, but that was something I just chose not to do. Might affect the weight a little bit, and not really that pedantic about it. So I have working flaps on this, and hopefully the weight, I can figure that out, and we'll maiden it sometime this spring at the field that I fly at, which is the 495th RC Squadron out in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. And there's a couple of scale guys there, so I figured that they'd be pretty interested in seeing what I've been up to, since I haven't been at the field in a couple of weeks at least. So hope you enjoyed the plane, and I'll catch you around.